here today. Today I have a really simple and cute fun fold card to share with you. I know you love fun folds, and we're going to use the new Stampin' Up Flowering Tulips stamp set and dies. Now, if you've seen this set in the new catalog, it is absolutely beautiful, but when I pulled out the die set to look at it and use it, I was a little bit stumped about how to use it. So I want to show you it is so easy to use once you see how to do it. So we're going to make a fun fold, show you how to use these tulip dies. Let's get started. So here's the bundle we're going to be using for this really neat fun fold card. Now I'm going to pull in my mini catalog here real quick, and we are looking at pages 14 through 17. And when I started to use this bundle, I wanted to see how to use these dies, and I pulled in my catalog to see what samples were in here. This is actually a bundle that has two separate bundles included, or a product suite that has two separate bundles included. But I got one or a couple of ideas there. I went to Pinterest. I didn't find ideas there. So here we are making the ideas so that you know how to use these tulip dies. So I'll show you right here. To make the 3 tulips we are going to use on this card, these are the dies you need to use. 3 of them have separate pieces that are going to fold, and then we have these small pieces that will insert into the middle. So those are the ones you will want to cut. Let me show you what we need for this card. And I've already done some of the work so that we can keep it pretty short and sweet here. This is the card base. It measures 5.5 by 7.5, and you want to score it at 4 1/4 inches this direction. So it's basically the same as a normal card base, but you have 1 inch cut off right here. Now the flat piece, this is going to help make our fun fold. This measures 2.5 by 5 1/4, and we have scored it at the 1/2 inch mark. Now I embossed this with a time-worn type embossing folder. Next, we need a piece of white. This will be for the inside. It measures 4 by 5 1/4. I also put a strip of this matching designer paper along the edge here. It measures 1/4 inch by 5 1/4. Now, this is some of the Flowering Fields designer paper, which is so beautiful. I just love this print, but there are so many others in the pack that are pretty as well. It was kind of a hard decision which one to use, but I love this one. So I chose it. Now, we also need a piece of designer paper on the front here that measures 3 by 5 1/4, and then we need some die cuts. So let me show you the die cuts that I've already prepared, because these are absolutely beautiful. Here I have the tag that says, "You are so thoughtful, thank you." And then here are the tulips that I have put together. Now, if you want to see how to make these, just stick around until the end and I'll show you exactly how to make them. But they are just so pretty, and they're going to make this card gorgeous. So let's go ahead and get started, because this will come together very quickly with the prep work I have done. The first thing I want to do is to attach the flap, and I have put some tear and tape on here, up here on that flap that I mentioned. And what I want to do is hook this over the front flap and then slide it. We can slide it back and forth. I want to get it pretty close over here to this edge. So put it right about there. Once it is where I like, I'll press it down so that that gets attached in place. Next, I want to attach this piece to the inside. So when I use I've got my Seal Plus adhesive here. You only have to use just a little bit of that in each corner to hold everything in place. So we fold this flap over, and we are going to create our focal point right here on this flap with all of these die cuts. So I'll bring them back in so you can see them. And my plan is to make kind of a little bouquet with that flower, this flower, and this little one in the front. So I'll mention this. I used white cardstock for this one. This is Petal Pink, and this is Poppy Parade. And I did some blending with my blending brushes. I'll show you this when we assemble the tulips together. Show you how I use those blending brushes on the outsides to give it the shaded look. So I am just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this one. I decided not to pop this one up. So we'll attach that one in place. Now on the back of this one, I put dimensionals. And we'll put this one over this way. And then on the back of this one, I actually put 2 layers of dimensionals. So I put one dimensional on, I took that paper backing off, and I put a second one right on top of it. That way we get even more dimension here. I'll put that right there. Now this I am going to attach directly to that flap. I do want the edge to hang off because I like the way that looks. And we can either leave these ends down here or trim them off. And I think I'm going to trim off at least some of them. I think I'll leave them like that. I do like them hanging off the end, but I don't want them to be long and flimsy and get damaged. So let's add just a couple of embellishments, and then I want to show you how to make those tulips. So isn't this beautiful? I just think this is the neatest card, but it's one of those that when you open that bundle, you very well may be looking at it like, okay, how do I use this exactly? So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and this seems like a good learning opportunity. I have reached the end where I twist this and no more sticky comes out to grab my gems here. So what you do is you unscrew this, you screw your refill one in, because we have refills for this, of course. And then you want to be very careful screwing it in. As soon as it starts to tighten, you want to stop. And then you can give it a little twist and wait a minute and see if your blue sticky comes out. I'll give that a little bit more of a twist because okay, there you can see I got my tip adjusted and got those gems attached. So just a really beautiful card. Now I meant to do this at the beginning, and occasionally I get all excited when I'm making videos and I forget what I'm going to do in the order. So I do want to show you how to use the tulip stamps, because this is another piece that you may look at these and wonder, well, how do I use those? So I'll show you. These 2 layer together, these 2 layer together, these 2 layer together. So you want to use the one that has less coverage. You want to use a darker color. So out of these 2, you're going to use your darker color on this one, your lighter color to fill in with this one. This one, your darker color with this one, your lighter color to fill in with this one. Darker color on this one, fill in with your lighter one here. Now, I may end up with some extra lines around the edge since I forgot to do this before I put this together, but there's the one with the less coverage. That's Poppy Parade ink, and then I can fill in here with this one with the lighter color. That's Flirty Flamingo. Now I did prepare the stems and the leaves, so I'll use some old olive ink to stamp a little stem on there, leaf or 2. Now, since I forgot to do this ahead of time, I am being careful not to press real hard so that I hopefully don't get my extra ink down there around the bottom. And that worked perfectly. So then if you want to, let's use this little tiny stamp. There is one that can go in the center. Now with tulips, that little center is normally black, right? That doesn't sound very fun to me. So we are going to try a standard flower center color. We're gonna try some yellow and fill in and see how this looks. So you can stamp that black, you can stamp it any color you want, of course. So that gives you an idea of how to use the tulip stamps. Now let's do what I've promised. Let's learn how to assemble these beautiful tulips so that you can make a card like this as well. So let me bring in the die cuts that I showed you at the beginning, those 6 dies that I said you'll need to cut out. And let's look at the 3 with the sections first. These are just 1 section each. These have different sections and they're going to get folded. So I will bring this card back in so that I can show you which one we were talking about on each of these. So this one, if you look at these up close, there's a little section that I'm going to fold on right there, okay? Now when I do that, we end up with layers of a flower. And then what we are going to do with this particular one, this is the white one, we are going to insert one of these round bud type dies right there, and we have that tulip. Okay, I'll show you shading here in just a second with the blending brushes. Now with this one, there are 3 sections, so I'm going to fold that one over and that one over. I'm going to flip this over because this is the front, and I'm going to insert the piece that has, it looks almost like a V. Insert that right there. Okay, so that is the petal pink one over here on the top right. Now with this one, we will fold the outside section in, this other outside section in, and you know, I think I might have made this one on my card upside down, so you can decide if you think it looks better this way or this way, and you can use it just the way it is if you want, but I'll show you the way I did it on my card here. I used it this way, and I inserted that bud piece in the top. So there are different ways to use these. This is just how I have found that worked for me, okay? So that's how you do that. Now let's look at shading for a second. And we will wrap this up. So what I did, let's look at this one in particular. So I looked at the parts that we're going to be showing from the front side. And so on this one, it's these 2 side flaps, and then the middle piece is going to show as well. So if you want to, you could do your shading. I've already got some ink on here. You can do your shading on this side. What I did was I opened it up and I did it on this side. So I'll do the outside 2 flaps here, and I'll flip it over and do that inner area on this side. And that way, and the shading won't show up quite as well since I have my Poppy Parade cardstock here, but that way, so I've got the shading on both of these side pieces and this one. This one right here, we can just go all the way around since it's one-sided, it's not folding. So all of the shading needs to be on the same side. So that is how I did my shading for these tulips. So I think this is a set that is so much fun to play around with. And as you can see, you can make just beautiful projects with it. So I definitely encourage you to try it if you have thought about it. Hope you enjoyed making this fun fold today. You can find links to all the products I've used in the video description below. Remember that through the end of February, Celebration is going on and you can get free products with every $50 you order. So thanks so much for watching along. I hope you have a blessed day. And I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.